Hi everyone, welcome to our workshop, Launching Creative Careers in University. I'm Ken, and I'm joined by my other members, Kat and Grace. This is our agenda for today. After a few welcomes and introductions, Grace will start with singing and songwriting, I will go over group work and contracts, and Kat will talk about visibility. After a quick Q&A session, we'll move to the activity, which is a 6-month plan worksheet, and we'll finish with closing remarks.
So this first section of the workshop will be on how singers and songwriters in the Arts, Culture, and Media program can learn to hone their skills and start to build a career while still in university. The first step in building a career and a solid foundation is intentional practice. And it can be hard to know what or how to narrow things down. So I like to use what I'm calling the funnel method, and it has a lot of fun baked into it. You start with whatever you're seeing while scrolling on the internet. Usually your feed will probably show whatever type of artistry that you're interested in, and any fun challenges that are going on at the time. You can just look at a video and then try the challenge, see what works, what you can improve on, and find a tutorial and pick one skill and then drill that. So we're going to run through an example here. Our example today is a very popular singing challenge that harmonizes to the song Wide Awake by Katy Perry. We'll look at an example of the original creator of the trend singing and what techniques and skills are used in that video and what we can potentially practice. So when we look at a video of one of these challenges, we can analyze what's going on and what skills are required to be able to pull it off. So he's doing sustained belts, and belting is a form of singing that's very loud and powerful. It uses something called the chest voice, where you feel very much like speaking or sort of shouting or yelling, but in a healthy way for singing. And so he's able to do that in a sustained way, or hold those very loud, powerful notes for a long time. He also has very clear vowels. You can understand what he's saying even though he's hitting these really high notes, which is impressive. He also is switching between registers because the song goes from like lower notes to very, very high notes. And so you need to be able to switch in your voice registers, or going from how your voice naturally sits when you sing low pitches, medium pitches, and high pitches. Oftentimes, there are different registers that we naturally have while singing these. And switching between them seamlessly is important to pull off such a hard challenge. And then also breath control, because you're holding notes for a really long time. So these are some of the skills that we can glean from this video. So how do we narrow things down now and make this a manageable practice session for us? Well, first you try the challenge and either video or audio record it. Then listen for differences between you and the person who's singing or doing the challenge. And let's say that I struggled hitting those sustained belts, like the trying to hold on part or the thunder rumbling part. Then I would search up how to belt powerfully and look for videos on that.
Making everything legato. With an F, with an F.
The right bullet points here are some examples of quick notes that you can take, either mental or jotting them down when you watch these tutorials. And then you can work on keeping that same placement in your voice, making it smooth, not having tension in your jaw muscles, and just yelling out the words of the song. And then making sure that you sing forward and out. And so you would drill that. For example, just sing thunder rumbling over and over and over again. And then afterwards, try the challenge and see how you improved. And you can do this for many skills. It doesn't always have to be singing. So that's the funnel method in action. Now on to performance opportunities on campus. So your best friend is going to be something called the Student Organization Portal, or SOP, where you can search for student organizations and groups. So this is an example of how to search for clubs that would benefit you for starting a career on the Student Organization Portal. So in this example scenario, I am searching dance because I have some experience in it, but I can grow either in the dance skill itself or in soft skills or leadership, like working with a group, for example. And I'm filtering it to UTSC because let's say I live closest to the UTSC campus, I have classes there, and it's more convenient to show up to a club regularly. Let's say I have experience in Jalak dance, then I would pick the U of T Jalak Student Club. When you click on the club name, you can see the executive roles that the club has, and this is very helpful for knowing what the club can offer you in terms of gaining experience and skills beyond what you already have. So oftentimes you will start in the general membership and then apply the following year. And so after looking at what positions they have, perhaps you eye the choreographer position, you want to dance in groups and you want to make choreographies as well as part of your career. So then you can join the club, be a general member, and apply for the choreographer position the next year. Now this is a brief run through of some student groups that I feel are worth checking out in general, and I've categorized them, and these are performance focused, so regular performance opportunities, maybe a bit more intense, but they have some very specific clubs for interests, so they'll be very relevant if you are interested in going into a career in any one of these fields. Drama Society would be good if you want to go into theater, UTSC K-pop if you want to be a cover group and start posting on YouTube, gain a social media following, and U of T Drag Club if you want to be a drag performer. And some organizations, they have their websites, and some of them are more active on Instagram. I would say that more organizations are primarily active on Instagram, so make sure to have an account there, check it out. You don't have to post anything or be on social media if you are uncomfortable, but just to browse and to keep updated. Now, these are some examples of slightly more casual groups, so there may be less performance opportunities, but they're still there, and it's a bit less intense than the others. There's still a wide variety of groups, and some examples are Music 303, UTSC Jazz, and the Glee Club. Some opportunities even involve potential payment, and so two examples of that are the annual Homecoming Talent Show, which often happens in late September, and then some of the performances in the Drag Club also offer payment, such as the Pride and Plush event in Highland Hall in January this year. And so here are some QR codes and some pictures from these events. Some opportunities for performance people don't often think about are related to departmental student associations, or DSAs, and these are organizations that span a larger field or set of fields in study, so it can combine multiple different programs in the same area, and even if they have nothing to do with music or singing or performing, they always need some sort of entertainment at their galas, which usually happen in the winter semester, at the end of the academic term, or even after the exam period, such as the end of April. They also have showcases and fundraisers if they want to raise money for organizations related to their field, so these are great performance opportunities. The Heart House, which is on the St. George campus, even though it's further and downtown, has a wide variety of opportunities. They have festivals like the Festival of Music, Festival of Dance. They've done 5 musicals this past academic year, and they always have open mics, which are great. Our final section for singers and songwriters will be on how to start writing music. So it can be hard to know because things are very overwhelming. You have a million ideas. You don't know how to narrow it down. And what I would suggest is pick a core theme of one word. So my mentor mentioned the 3 L's of love, lust, and loss, which most songs can be whittled down into one of these 3 core themes. So then what do you do with them? Here I have a random word chooser and I've put down these 3 themes and I've gotten lost. So now I have my core theme. What about the musical ideas? What if I have no idea what vibe of the song that I want after picking the theme? Then I would suggest using artist inspiration. So pick anyone that you like listening to, and out of their songs, just scrolling through Spotify or YouTube, Apple Music, anything, just pick a random one until you find something that you feel fits the theme. So something that fits the theme of loss. It doesn't have to be about loss specifically, but even the vibes or some of the melodies, they sound like they could fit the theme of your song.
The sun comes up but I don't feel it on my face. The leaves start falling but the seasons never change. Indulging the loneliness to avoid all the pain. Now it's dark when it's light and the spark in my eyes burning low. I should call up my friend, but I think there's something wrong with my head. Oh, I'll break everything that is good, 'cause I cannot see the good inside. Change the chemicals inside my mind, but it's a long, long way up that hill, past all the dead grass and the thoughts. But I am getting well.
Now, just like the skill drills, we can jot down a few bullet points on what the song is like and use those as guidelines in addition to your intuitive sense of the vibes, to then combine with the theme and sort of fit together our song. So with our example of the Dean Lewis song and then the theme of loss, maybe it could be an acoustic sounding song with a theme of losing someone that you loved. So like, I woke up in the morning thinking you were still here, been waiting for your call soon as the night draws near. Something like that, and you've already got the basis to your song. So the 3 things that we went over today are drilling and narrowing down from challenges to building a specific skill and then seeing your improvement over time, using the student organization portal to find different clubs and groups and performance opportunities, and then using the 3 L's and artist inspiration when you have songwriter's block. So hopefully these things were helpful for you guys today, singers and songwriters who are interested in launching your career while taking classes in ACM. And now we will be moving on to Ken's advice.
This section will cover the tips and tricks needed to effectively collaborate with other people, whether it's with other classmates in a group assignment or you're working with other artists on a new project. It's impossible to be truly solo in the arts, so it's important to be aware of the best practices and conduct around others. What goes into collaboration? There are countless factors, but we chose 4 to highlight for today's workshop. First, it's important to set up clear and consistent channels for communication. Without it, things get lost, delayed, and things start to go bad really quickly. Second, you need to show accountability for what you're responsible for. If you make a mistake, own up to it and work on resolving it instead of shifting the blame. This leads to the next 2 points, making a group charter and defining roles for the group. A charter will give your group structure and aid in any disputes, while also making sure everyone has a clear, definable role in it. If you follow these steps, you are sure to succeed. What should you avoid when working in a group? Don't do things on your own without consulting your workmates. This may lead to additional work for yourself and others that can end up wasting everyone's time. Don't be condescending or dismissive of others' opinions. Being negative and shutting down what others has to say is a recipe for sour relationships. If you don't agree with someone, acknowledge their stance and suggest other paths forward instead of rejecting them completely. Don't keep your opinions to yourself. No idea is truly a bad idea. Even if it seems silly, it may help the group look at the problem from another angle and provide new, useful perspectives. Finally, don't be afraid to lean on others for support. Remember, you're in a team, and everyone wants to succeed. Never feel like your problems are yours alone to deal with, and reach out when you're stuck or confused. Now, it's important to realize that conflict is inevitable. You'll never truly escape from it. What's essential is learning how to resolve it. Left unchecked, it can spiral and create hostile and unsafe working environments, which is something no one wants. In order to safely diffuse a situation and get each party to see eye to eye, follow these key steps. First, recognize the conflict. Second, listen to all sides. Third, define the root cause of the conflict. Fourth, brainstorm solutions with both parties. 5, agree on an action plan. And 6, follow up with both parties.
Next, we are going to talk about visibility, which is essentially how people see, understand, and engage with your work as a creative. Having strong skills is important, but talent alone doesn't create opportunities. People need to actually see your work and understand what you do in order to collaborate with you, hire you, or support your work. Visibility helps you build credibility, connect with others, and open doors to opportunities. A really common mindset is, I'll start posting or sharing my work when I'm better. A lot of students wait until their work feels perfect before putting it out there, but the reality is you actually improve through sharing your work, not before it. Visibility isn't just about posting frequently or gaining followers. It's really about 3 things. Clarity, people understand what you do. Consistency, your work feels cohesive. And accessibility, your work is easy to find and engage with. We can break visibility down into 3 main areas: your portfolio, your social media presence, and your personal branding. Together, these shape how people perceive you as a creative. The first one is portfolio. Your portfolio is your proof of skill. It shows what you can actually do, not just what you say you can do. A strong portfolio should clearly communicate what kind of work you create and why someone would want to work with you. Some common issues we see in student portfolios are having too many unrelated projects, not having a clear focus, being difficult to navigate, or not including contact information. These things can make it harder for others to take your work seriously. A strong portfolio is focused and intentional. It highlights your best work, has a clear direction, is easy to navigate, and feels visually consistent. It's not about showing everything, it's about showing what represents you best. These are a few simple platforms you can use to build a professional portfolio without needing any coding experience. Adobe Portfolio is great because many of you already have access through your Adobe subscription. It's clean and easy to use. Wix is very beginner-friendly with a drag-and-drop interface, and Squarespace offers more polished templates if you want something visually refined. The most important thing isn't the platform, it's clarity. Your portfolio should be easy to understand and focused on your best work. Moving on to our second core area of visibility, social media. Social media is often the first place people will look when they come across your work. It acts as an extension of your portfolio and gives insight into your style, your consistency, and how active you are as a creative. You don't have to only post finished, polished work. You can also share behind-the-scenes content, your creative process, and even experiments or work in progress. This helps people understand how you work, not just what you make. If you only post finished work, it can actually slow you down. Sharing your process makes your work feel more approachable and shows growth over time, which is something people connect with. You don't need to post constantly. Posting consistently, even something simple like once a week, is much more effective than posting a lot all at once and then disappearing. These tools can help you stay consistent without feeling overwhelmed. Canva is great for creating simple graphics, thumbnails, or social media posts. It's very easy to use. Later is a scheduling tool that helps you plan content in advance, which can take some pressure off. You don't need to post every day. Even 1 or 2 posts a week is enough if you stay consistent and intentional. Now moving on to our third core area of visibility, branding. Personal branding isn't just a logo or an aesthetic. It's how people recognize and remember your work, the overall impression that you leave. To build a clear identity, ask yourself, what kind of work do I make? What do I want to be known for? And what feeling does my work communicate? The clearer you are, the easier it is for others to understand and remember you. If someone can't understand what you do within a few seconds, you might be losing opportunities. Clarity and consistency are just as important as skill. These platforms are helpful for finding inspiration and understanding different creative styles. Pinterest is great for building mood boards and collecting visual ideas, while Behance showcases more professional level creative work. The goal here isn't to copy what others are doing, but to understand what you're drawn to and use that to develop your own creative direction. Next, we're going to talk about some basic business concepts that are really important as you start working with others. Creative work is still professional work. That means you deserve clear expectations, respect for your time, and fair compensation for what you do. A lot of students avoid conversations about money, don't fully understand ownership of their work, or agree to unclear terms. This can lead to confusion or situations where your work isn't respected the way it should be.
This section will look at contracts and copyright. So, what is a contract exactly? Well, a contract is simply an agreement between people working together. It outlines what's being done, who is responsible, when the thing being done is due, and how it's being compensated. Why are contracts so important? Well, they help prevent misunderstandings. They make expectations clear and protect both you and the person you're working with. Even if a contract isn't formally written down, informal agreements still count. Even if you don't have a formal contract, things like emails, texts, or DMs can still act as agreements. So it's important to be clear and intentional in your communication. Now we move on to basic copyright concepts. In most cases, when you create something, you automatically own it. That ownership can change depending on what you agree to, so it's important to be aware of that. This is important because questions like who owns the work, where it can be used, and whether it can be changed all fall under copyright. Understanding this important concept helps you protect your work.
Next, we will be discussing payment. Talking about money can feel uncomfortable, especially when you're just starting out. But it's a normal and necessary part of professional work. Creative work is still professional work. That means you deserve clear expectations, respect for your time, and fair compensation for what you do. Before starting a project, it's important to clarify the scope of work, timeline, and compensation. This helps avoid confusion later on. As you start doing paid work, it's important to handle payments professionally. I personally use Zoho Invoice to send invoices and track both payments and expenses. It helps keep everything organized. Wave is another great option, especially because it's free and designed for small businesses in Canada. Even as a student, using tools like this makes you look more professional and helps you stay on top of your finances. And now moving on to negotiation. Negotiation isn't conflict, it's just a conversation. It's about making sure both sides understand and agree on expectations. A simple way to approach negotiation is to be clear, respectful, and honest about what you can offer and what you need. And it's okay to ask questions if something isn't clear. If you don't define your value, someone else might define it for you. Being clear and professional helps protect your work and your time. And now for some frequently asked questions.
What if I don't know what to focus on? It's completely normal to not have a clear direction yet. Especially in creative fields, your path develops over time. Trying different things and experimenting is how you figure out what actually fits you.
How do I start if I don't have experience? You don't need formal experience to begin. You can start by creating your own projects, working with classmates, or building small collaborations. Experience comes from doing.
How do I stay consistent without burning out? It's really easy to feel like you need to do everything at once. Post constantly, improve your skills, collaborate, and build a portfolio all at the same time. But that's usually what leads to burnout. Instead, focus on small, consistent actions, like practicing a few times a week, or posting regularly at a pace you can actually maintain. Consistency doesn't mean doing more. It means doing what's sustainable over time.
We hope this workshop helped you brainstorm ways to get started on your artistic career while being a student in ACM. Feel free to refer back to these slides whenever you need, and remember, it's okay to start small.